Dear students, today we are going to discuss the analysis of the poem Ulysses written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. In the last session, that is session 1, we had discussed the introduction to Alfred Lord Tennyson. And in the introduction part, we had clearly seen the several themes considered by Alfred Lord Tennyson in his works. One of the themes which was considered, which we had seen, was mythological past. Here in the poem Ulysses, we can see mythological past as the theme which is considered, or as a main focus or the main concept which is considered in this poem Ulysses. So we'll begin with the analysis of the poem. I hope all of you have the text in front of you when you are listening to this video on the analysis of the poem. If you have the text in front of you, it will help you to understand the poem in a better way. So we'll start with the analysis of the poem. Now to begin with, this poem Ulysses was written by Alfred Lord Tennyson, and it was composed in the year 1833 and it was published in 1842. This poem is in monologue, that is a speech presented by a single character. That means to say, the entire poem is spoken by one character, that is Ulysses himself. He speaks in the entire poem. Only his voice is heard in the entire poem. So this poem is based on the character of Odysseus from Homer's epic Odyssey. Ulysses is another name of the character Odysseus here. So Ulysses was the king of Ithaca. Ithaca is an island near the Gulf of Corinth, and this poem reveals the rich experiences of an adventurous journey across the world. And even before we move into the analysis of the poem, we need to talk about a few more things. Alfred Lord Tennyson has written this poem, and this poem is considered as one of the widely read Victorian poets in English literature. Because, as this slide shows, this poem reveals the experiences and adventures which are very rich, which can be a kind of role model for anybody who reads the poem. So this poem opens with a monologue of Ulysses. He has actually become old when he starts. When we see the beginning of the poem, we can see that Ulysses as an old man, not as young, energetic person, but as an old man. So he begins at the stage where he returns to Ithaca after the Trojan War. That is the Trojan War, which took place for 10 years between Greeks and Trojans. Now this war was fought for the sake of Queen Helen, who was considered to be the most beautiful woman on earth. Now as Helen was taken away by the prince Paris to Troy, now she was a Greek queen. So the Greek people, to save the honor and to get back their queen, they had to wage the war against Trojans. So this Trojan War was fought for 10 years, and Ulysses was sought help by the Greek people so that they can bring back their queen. As Ulysses was not only an adventurer, but he was a great warrior as well. So whichever country he is going to support, that country definitely is going to win. That is a belief. So that's the reason why he was asked, or he was requested to help the Greek people. So he was a warrior, great warrior, and he supported Greek people in this Trojan War, and his experiences in the war are considered to be very rich. So after the 10 years of war, he spent another 10 more years in his travel and different adventures, and by the time he could come back home, that is to his homeland Ithaca, it was almost 20 years. And when he left for the war, his son Telemachus was very young. Now he is an adult. So he has enjoyed all the struggles, he has learned many things in life through the struggles in the war. He laments that he is not happy spending his life with his wife and son after coming back to Ithaca, because the experiences which he had during his adventurous life cannot be equaled with the life of idleness after he has come back home. So he says he is getting bored in this kind of living. So he has become old, but his spirit is restless. It compelled Ulysses not to sit at home and spend time leisurely. Having spent time lazily for some time, Ulysses has got bored with this kind of living, and he no more wants to pass time with sitting beside the hearth with an aged wife. His wife's name is Penelope. He has got tired of his citizens who leads a dull life. So he is eager to continue the adventurous journey, and he believes that in earning knowledge through constant traveling is more important for any human being than sitting idle in one place. He has seen so many distant lands and has come across different kinds of men and manners, and he proclaims that he cannot rest from travel. So he speaks to himself and he proclaims that he cannot rest from travel, but feels compelled to live to the fullest and swallow even the last drop of life. He has enjoyed all his experiences as a sailor who travels the seas, and he considers himself a symbol for everyone who wanders and roams the earth. So he feels that the people of Ithaca are uncivilized and they just eat, drink, sleep like savages. There is no thrill in life, there is no adventure in life, there is no knowledge, nothing. So he doesn't want to be a king where he is ruling such savages. He has had the delight of battle when he was waging the Trojan War. So his travels have exposed him to many different types of people and ways of living, and they have also exposed him to the delight of battle while fighting the Trojan War with his men. So Ulysses declares that his travels and encounters have shaped who he is today. So he feels that he cannot stay in that place anymore, and he declares that it is boring to stay in one place and that to remain stationary is to rust rather than to shine. So he would prefer to shine rather than rusting in one place. So to stay in one place is to pretend that there is to life the simple act of breathing, that's all. So just to breathe and doing nothing is not acceptable to Ulysses. So he feels that he has to do more in his life. So his spirit yearns constantly for new experiences that will broaden his horizons. He wishes to follow knowledge like a sinking star. So you can see in the second stanza this particular line, to follow knowledge like a sinking star. So he would never want to stop learning. We always feel that we keep learning till the end of our life, till the last breath of our lives. So Ulysses is a man who would want to learn and who would want to be adventurous and who would want to be exploring new things till the last breath of his life. Though he is getting older physically, his spirit is so young that he wouldn't want to stop learning and being adventurous. So finally what he does, so he feels that his boundary of knowledge and experiences is limitless, and it's just like a landscape appearing through the arch. So his experience is just like a landscape which is appearing through the arch, so which is endless, limitless. So now moving on to the next stanza, we can see that Ulysses is speaking to an unidentified audience regarding his son Telemachus. Telemachus he was very young when he had left for the war. 20 years ago. So now he is an adult, 20 plus years old adult, and now he feels that Telemachus can take care of Ithaca and Ulysses can go ahead with his adventurous life. So when he talks about Telemachus, he feels that Telemachus can be a successful successor, so that this great hero can resume his travel. He says in this particular stanza, "This is my son, mine own Telemachus." So when we see this word, mine own Telemachus, he feels very proud of his son because he can successfully handle the administration as a king of this country. So he feels that he can give the responsibility as a king to his son. So he says, "This is my son, mine own Telemachus, to whom I leave the scepter and the isle." So these are the lines which are mentioned in the poem. He speaks highly and also patronizingly of his son's capabilities as a ruler, and he praises his prudence, his dedication, and his devotion to the gods, and his responsibility towards the kingdom and the household, and he feels very proud of it. So he feels that Telemachus will do his work of governing the island, while Ulysses will do his work of traveling the seas. So you can see towards the end of the stanza, he works his work and I mine. So he is very confident that Telemachus can take care of the island, that is Ithaca, and with a lot of freeness in the mind, he can continue with his work of traveling and adventure. So he also feels that Telemachus is not as adventurous as himself, and his son will be interested to stay in one place, and he can take care of the kingdom. So Ulysses gives all the responsibility to his son, and he sets out for his journey. So in the final stanza we can see this, Ulysses addresses the mariners with whom he has worked, travelled and weathered life's storms over many years. So he is ready to set out for the journey. He declares that although he and his friends, that is the fellow mariners, they are old, they still have the potential to do something noble and honorable before the long day wanes. That is, before the death, they can still do a lot of things which are noble for a human being. He encourages them to make use of their old age because it's not too late to seek a newer world. So he feels that every moment should be made use of to explore the new world. Just because they have grown physically old, it doesn't mean that they have to stop working. Because their spirit is still young, they have a lot of energy in their mind, which will help them to seek newer world. So he really pushes them forward and inspires them also to travel along with them, and they are also ready and they feel energetic because Ulysses feels energetic, and by looking at Ulysses, whoever looks at Ulysses and whoever listens to Ulysses will definitely feel energetic, and so the mariners. So they have his power of speech is so strong that they also feel inspired and they are also ready to travel along with them, and they start with their journey. He encourages them to make use of their old age, and he inspires them. He declares that his goal is to sail onward beyond the sunset until his death. So he never wants to stop at any point of time. So as long as he can, he wants to travel and explore the new world around. Although Ulysses and his mariners are not as strong as they were in youth, they are strong in will and are sustained by their resolve to push onward relentlessly. So, if your willpower is very strong, your body will listen to your mind. So, I think that is a psychological find out. When we have a very strong willpower, nothing can stop us. So, this is a very strong message given by Lord Tennyson through this poem Ulysses, and the character Ulysses also inspires us this particular concept. So towards the end of the poem he says, to strive to seek, to find, and not to yield. Probably this line reminds us of the lines of Swami Vivekananda: arise, awake, stop not till you reach the goal. So, probably this message you can see here in Ulysses' poem also. So, they head towards a seashore where the ships are ready, and they are ready to begin their journey. And all the mariners are fearless warriors. They were fearless warriors because they had fought the war before along with Ulysses, that is the Trojan War, and they are the survivors of the war. So they are fearless warriors. They don't fear thunder, they don't fear sunshine, terrible weather, nothing scares them. They are so courageous and they continue with their journey. The companions have been with him for so many years, accompanying him all journeys filled with adventures. So now also they continue to be with Ulysses in his journey further, and they have grown old, but they too have an untiring spirit like that of Ulysses. So it's not just that the Ulysses is trying to inspire them, motivate them to travel along with him. It's not just that. Basically, those mariners were also warriors, and they also have the same spirit as Ulysses himself. So all the birds of the same feather flock together. So they're all together, and now they're all ready to set out for their journey. So he's sure that one day his companions have to face death. But before death, they need to achieve something noble. So Ulysses says that they have to achieve something and they cannot stop seeking newer things in their lives. So the poem ends with this famous line, which is often quoted in literature: to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. So they always believe in doing greater things in their lives, and it's not just their belief, they practically follow their belief. To believe and keeping silent is one part, but in this poem we can see that they are going to follow their dreams, they are going to follow their beliefs without hesitating or without having a second thought. So we can see that this poem can be an inspirational poem to the section of the society which is lazy, which always gives excuses for doing any part of the or taking any part of the responsibility of their lives. Probably this poem can be an inspirational poem. We always have understood that literature is guide to life, and if we have seen any piece of literature, we can understand that every piece of literature has some or the other strong message to convey. Or if we are keen observers, every piece of literature will have something for us to carry and something for us to imbibe in our lives. Probably Ulysses can become a role model of anybody who would want to give excuses in taking up the responsibilities or in being active in life. Giving excuse of the old age, giving excuse of the weak physical stature, for those people, Ulysses can be a role model. I hope everyone has got an idea about this poem, Ulysses. If you would want to refer to more references regarding Ulysses, you will have to see the Greek mythological story with respect to Ulysses. Very interesting story. We are taking a tangent from Ulysses. We can know more about Helen of Troy, which is another mythological story, related story. If we can understand the entire context, this poem becomes more interesting. The mythological part of any country is more interesting, and it's like a fantasy world, fairy tale. So very interesting and very inspiring as well. It's not reading the poetry just for the sake of reading or just for the sake of examination. We have to read any piece of literature to learn things for ourselves. Thank you very much.